Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Danielle Duclos, and I am the Senior Vice President of Marketing for Bluefin. I wanted to thank you all for joining today's webinar, Bluefin's Account Updater. Today's discussion will last about 30 to 35 minutes with time allotted at the end to take questions. To ask a question, all you need to do is type into the question pane on the right-hand side of your screen. And if there are, for some reason, questions that we don't get to answer during the webinar due to time constraints, they will be addressed in a follow-on email to attendees. Additionally, a copy of the presentation accompanying today's session is available in the handout section of the webinar. And we are recording the webinar, and it will be posted on our website tomorrow. We will send everybody a link when it has been posted so that you may share it with your colleagues. And without further ado, I am pleased to welcome today's presenters, which include myself, Riti Latta, PayConex Product Manager, and Ryan Cox, PayConex Product Manager. So we are very excited to present this new product, our Account Updater. And Ryan and Riti are going to take you through exactly how all of this works. But basically, it's an automated, seamless service that will be retrieving updated credit card information from your merchants and clients from Visa and Mastercard and Discover in phase 1, phase 2. It will be Amex as well. When this customer's card is expired, lost, reissued, or reported stolen. And of course, we're going to talk a lot about the benefits today, including, a faster turnaround in payments for merchants. And what's great about this product is that everything happens behind the scenes. It's a completely seamless experience for your customers. And what it's going to really avoid is you having to contact your customers to get these updates manually, which can be a big time suck. So let's talk a little bit before we get into the product about the market trends. I think that we're all consumers of subscription-based services, and we know that once COVID hit, everybody was ordering to have things delivered for consumption at home. And this really created the perfect opportunity for e-commerce, whether it was, let's say, purchasing your dog food on Chewy or binge watching Netflix or even grocery shopping with Instacart. And so what's happened, even though we are post-pandemic now, consumers have realized the benefits and the convenience of subscription payments, and they're really adopting them into every facet of their lives. For companies that allow these recurring and subscription payments, there's significant benefits, including revenue predictability, an uninterrupted revenue stream, stronger consumer relationships, and then also customer data on what sells, which is going to improve future business planning. But interestingly enough, UBS predicts that the subscription economy will go to 1.5 trillion by 2025, which is more than double the current $650 billion estimate today. So it's a win-win scenario, really. 3 out of 4 consumers worldwide have payment data, card data stored with an online merchant. And that's where this product really is going to come in, is these card on file transactions, the storage of this credit card data so that you can continue this automatic billing uninterrupted. So we know some of the obvious places that subscription payments are used, right? Streaming services, not surprising, but some of the less obvious ones, and for the clients and the folks on this call that are in healthcare, that are in higher education, that may be doing gym services, if you take a step back and you think about how we're paying today, in every single industry, there is a recurring and a subscription-based model, whether that's something like a utility payment where you're paying your electric bill online through, your card or whatever, on a monthly basis, mortgage payments, definitely healthcare payments. And I know my gym membership is on my card, and it's billed like clockwork on the 4th of every single month. So those are just a few places that, subscription and recurring can be used today, but obviously it's really unlimited if you think about it. And with that, I'm going to hand this over to Reedy to talk a little bit about, we just talked about the opportunity for merchants, but we're going to talk a little bit first about the challenges before we get into the product. So Reedy, you want to talk through some of these challenges that merchants face?
Yeah. Hey all, thank you, Danielle. So, as Danielle said, right, subscriptions is on an upward trend, and rightly so because comes with significant benefits, improves business planning and decision making. But as with every opportunity, there is a challenge, right? Challenge to keep up customers' payment information up to date. There's another interesting challenge, which is passive churn, right? Dealing with passive churn. And this happens when a customer's legitimate card is
Reedy, I'm just
falsified.
going to stop you for one second. It seems like your audio is a little bit quiet. Do you mind just speaking up a little bit?
Yeah, sure.
Thank you, my
So,
dear.
okay. So, yeah, I was saying, like with every opportunity, there is a challenge, right? Keeping up with the customer's payment information up to date, dealing with passive churn. Passive churn occurs when a customer's legitimate card is declined and resulting in the subscription being canceled, which otherwise would have, continued as a payment. And as a result of these failures, the merchant that is providing this service has to reach out to the customer, ask for the new payment method. Um, so, I mean, there's plenty of research out there that about 5% of subscription customers are lost each year when these legitimate payments fail, right? And then there are events like um, account closures, cards can be lost or stolen, expiration date can change. And if you're busy working mom like me, there is a chance that you might lose your credit card. You're always on the run, always on the go. And things like reissuance and data breaches, merchants cannot plan and plan for these things, right? They can always be prepared. So this is that tool that can help them to be prepared. Next slide, please. So, keeping these challenges in mind, we have partnered with CardSync. We'll be reaching out to them to procure PAN updates, any changes in expiration date, account closure, directly and seamlessly. They work directly and seamlessly with card brands and issuing banks for our merchants. And all of this would facilitate faster turnaround in payments and a frictionless customer experience. Now let's look at some of the benefits that account updater comes with, right? So when an authorization for a recurring payment fails, right, it means that that revenue uh, for your organization is at least temporarily lost, right, if not permanently. In addition, there are declines that can stall the revenue. So transactions uh, attempted with outdated or invalid information will be declined. And then this cuts into your profit. So one of the key things to remember is how it can help you maximize revenue. And then not only are you paying for the transaction fees or declines, you're also paying for the time, right? In some cases you also get downgraded, right? There are costs associated with obtaining the information manually, right? You end up with a dissatisfied customer, right? Truth be told, no business owner wants to tell a customer that their card was declined and that their subscription has been cancelled for non-payment, or they have late fees, right? Merchants in all scenarios want to avoid these negative conversations and interactions with their customer, right? So having a frictionless customer experience one of the key benefits. And then manual updates means employees are procuring the card data, um, or are maintaining it on a on an Excel file, right? So it's a risk. It's a risk in the PCI audit world for our merchants, and it can impact their goal of achieving SAC A. And these are like the most simple and coveted assessments for the merchant, right? uh, let's look at the pricing, right? You only pay for a card token that comes back with an update, and we'll look at it in more detail when we go through our some of our next slides. And then the way we have designed it, it seamlessly work with PayConex recurring system. And with that, I'll pass it on to my colleague and partner in product, Ryan. Uh, Ryan, can you talk through about how it actually works?
Yeah. Thank you, Riddy. So Danielle and Riddy kind of gave you a breakdown of some use cases, where getting cards updated through an automated process could be advantageous. And right now, we're really in phase one of our rollout for our account updater integration. Phase one is going to be more dedicated to those merchants who utilize recurring schedules within PayConex, that set them up and let PayConex run those recurring transactions for them. So in that scenario, in this diagram you see here, that's kind of the partners area. So our partners are going to have recurring schedules set up within PayConex. PayConex is going to take those recurring schedules and look at that data and say, okay, this transaction is scheduled to run 10 days from now, and we're going to issue that cardholder data to CardSync, who has a relationship with the card brands and the card issuers. And CardSync is going to communicate with Visa, Mastercard, Discover, Amex in the second phase of the project is coming online as well. And the card brands are going to check with the card issuers, and then any account updates that need to happen are going to flow back through the card brands to CardSync, and then we're going to update the cardholder data on your recurring schedules inside PayConex. That's just kind of an overview of how the chain of communication works between all the different parties involved. So what you'll see in PayConex is, if you have a recurring schedule that had an update to one of the cards, you'll get a new token on that recurring schedule. And when that transaction actually processes, it's going to process on the new card number or the new expiration date. The reason we went with 10 days ahead of time for these recurring schedules is because that was the best practice outlined by the card brands and CardSync. That usually gives enough time for updates to actually happen on the recurring schedule before the transaction goes through. As I touched on, phase two, we're going to be rolling out our integration to the Amex portion of this. Amex works a little bit differently than the other three card brands, as probably a lot of folks know. So there's a few little considerations we had to make for that. And then in phase three, we're going to be rolling out API endpoints for merchants that might not be utilizing PayConex recurring payment schedules. What that means is if you're a merchant and you have your recurring schedules housed in your own system with PayConex tokens, you can take that data and just submit it for updates directly to the CardSync, the account updater endpoint on PayConex, sorry. And then we'll take it and translate it over to CardSync. And with that, Riddy touched on this in her last slide. We talked a little bit about billable updates. There are really only 4 billable updates in this scenario. You can either have an updated card or an updated expiration date. That means updated card would mean that you got a new card number. You may or may not have gotten a new expiration date. And then updated expiration date means that the card was not updated, the card number itself, but that you've received an updated expiration date from the card issuer. The other 2 billable updates are really very similar. It just depends on the card brand determining what they call them. So for some card brands, you would see contact customer, and for some card brands, you would see contact closed. What this really means, in essence, is that the credit card account on file has been closed with the issuer, and they do not have an update to provide. But it's a communication that the card on file is closed. So what happens in that case in PayConex is your recurring schedule would go on hold, and we would not issue any request to CardSync for more updates. Because if we were to do that, you might see, attempts at getting updated cards and get billed for that over and over again, when really you need, in this case, you will need to go out and manually grab a new card number from your customer in the event that their account is closed, or their ACH account, or whatever you would like to update it to. The last two statuses are no change / match and valid. What these mean is that there was no change, the credit card on file was matched, or it was a valid credit card by the card issuer. And in those cases, there's no billable update. It's only in the case where there's actual change in status of the card. And with that, talking about enrollment, if you're interested in enrolling, as I said, we're in phase 1 right now. So those merchants out there that are utilizing recurring schedules within PayConex, you're ready to go ahead and enroll. Anyone that's needing that phase 3 API integration, you might want to wait, or talk to our teams and find out if you can get on a list to be updated whenever we start rolling that out. For those clients that want to enroll now, you can fill out the account updater online application. There's going to be a link to that on the next slide, I think. When you enroll, that information is sent over to PayConex, and your account is going to be enabled at the gateway level. Account updater is going to be enabled at the gateway level, and there's a little bit of an approval process that will happen with CardSync. CardSync will check your enrollment, and after all of that is enabled, PayConex is just going to automatically start grabbing that credit card data for your recurring schedules 10 days ahead. And then, 3 to 5 days later, you'll start seeing, updated information for your cards if there were any updates. And then the last step is just you're gonna start seeing updates flowing to your recurring schedules. And with that, Danielle, you can talk a little bit about the application sign up.
Yes, excellent. Yes. Oh, and just to go back for 1 second, Ryan, pricing 20 per month,
Oh, yeah.
$1 per
It's
successful update.
Yeah, it's $20 a month, and for each of those billable updates that we talked about, the updated card, updated expiration, or if the account was closed, each update that you get on a card will be $1. If there's no, and as I said before, if there's no update, or if it's a valid card or it's matched, that's not gonna incur a charge.
Right. And one of the things when we look at the $1 is I think about the lost revenue that could potentially happen if somebody's subscription is canceled. To go back to my gym membership, which is 40 something a month, $1 doesn't seem like a ton of money, really, if you think about it that way. So it's super easy to enroll because we're here, we're full service. We have one dedicated team member on our sales team who knows everything about this product, and he has been handling all of our inbounds for signing up people on PayConex with the account updater. And so we have, if you go to the PayConex page on the website, there's a box for account updater. We have our own page for that. And a contact us form. You can contact us directly through there. I would suggest checking out that page. We also have a savings calculator where you can input your average, recurring transaction amount and how many subscriptions you have, and it'll spit out an amount of what you could potentially be saving with account updater, and it's a pretty significant amount. We had a webinar a couple of weeks ago, I would say, on our ACH verification product where we partnered to basically check with Microbilt to check all ACH verification, new ACHs that were coming through. And I look at account updater the same way. It's just important, I think, from a business perspective to keep this customer information up to date to maximize revenue as much as possible. And that's really, we've had quite a few product webinars if you've been on them this year, but that's really what we're focusing on in Bluefin is how do we maximize the revenue for our clients serving their customers. So with that being said, we actually didn't even make it to 30 minutes. We did this 20 today, so this is fantastic. I am going to open it up to questions, and we do have quite a few, so I am going to start rolling along with those. And so, Ryan, the first two, it's pretty much the same from two individuals, but we're looking for a target date for phase 3.
Yeah, there's no hard target date. Later this summer, we can estimate it out to that. I know personally, I've got tickets in where we're starting to work on it right now. But as a lot of us know in the software development world, we've got to QA that and work with CardSync to make sure everything we've got going through is okay. So it's I would say a soft date would be end of the summer, but that's subject to change. It could be sooner. It could go out a little bit later. So that's kind of the best window I can give you right now.
But it will be this year. So we are focused on getting
Yes,
all
we
three
are
phases done
focused
this
on
year.
yes, we are focused on getting all 3 phases done this year. We're currently, and the reason it's a little bit harder to give a hard and fast update is we're trying to get phase 2 out hopefully by the end of this month or next month. So we're trying to focus on getting Amex out for those updates before we expose those API endpoints. So it's just not quite there in the chain of work yet. So
yep, no, understood. And just as some background, folks, a lot of the times, many of you are on First Data or on Chase or on Elevon. We have a lot of different types of integrations at Bluefin. We have PayConex as standalone, we have PayConex as integrated, and each time we introduce one of these products, we have to take all of that into account, which is why we sometimes have to do these in chunks and phases. But we know how important the integrated portion is, so that is definitely priority.
Yeah, it's really big. One thing I will also say, Danielle, is it's nice for us to be able to integrate these features to PayConex directly first as well, because for things like the API endpoints, we're gonna end up modifying those as we consume them ourselves. So by the time the API comes out, hopefully it's a little bit more mature than what it would be if we were to just release an API out to the masses, because we've had some internal testing with our integration to PayConex as well. So it's a nice way to bring it along, but it does create a bit of a delay there on that last API integration phase.
Yeah, absolutely, because we do have a lot of integrated clients. So I have a question here. This one is an interesting one, and I don't know a lot about Elevon, but do you know, Ryan or Rudy, how this pricing compares to the current Elevon process?
I
don't. Yeah. I don't know.
So I'm not 100% sure here too. But the pricing that we have for CardSync, I would think it's very much competitive or in line with what Elevon has to offer.
Okay, Tim, we'll see if we can find that out for you. I'm sure we can do a little bit of digging just to see,
and I will
because
also,
I'm curious as well.
But I will also say that from having looked at our service with Elevon's account updater service, the API integration portion of this will be much more flexible and user friendly than the Elevon service. Elevon requires a certain file format in CSV format, and you have to build the file and then submit that through SFTP. This service will actually you will be able to consume API endpoints and send specific data over an HTTPS call without having to worry about any of those file formatting issues or anything like that. So it's a little bit more of a modern solution than the Elevon solution.
Okay, great. And I think I know the answer to this. I think it's no, but is there a setup application fee in addition to the $20 a month and $1 update? No setup application fee, right?
No. Yeah, that's right.
No, yeah.
Yes, nope. What you see is what you get, 20 and 1. Andrew, if we are already enrolled in your account updater, how does this impact? I'm assuming Andrew's probably talking about our previous product, right?
Yeah, if you're already enrolled in Elevon Account Updater and you're submitting files to us, nothing should change for your account, unless you were to want to enroll in CardSync and have your recurring schedules picked up through that separate process. We could talk about migrating you over if you have recurring schedules right now, or we could discuss what the API integration would look like if you're not using recurring schedules right now. But that's kind of what you would see as a sorry, my
well, I see your eyeball. What's going on? Oh no, I see Reedy's eyeball.
Yeah.
Sorry about that, folks.
My screen messed up on me.
That's okay, no worries.
But yeah, the Elevon account updater service is not going to be interrupted. Is what I
Okay.
was wanting to say.
Yeah, we have quite a
Most of
few
all,
questions on that. I think this is
yeah.
right. So we're not sunsetting the Elevon account updater service.
No, this is just a more modern approach
Mhm.
that we were able to integrate directly into PayConex due to the way the CardSync API works. It's just more advantageous from a technological perspective. So no, we're not gonna stop your Elevon account updater
Right.
updates from happening or anything like that.
Yep.
But if you're interested in moving over to the new service, we'd love to have you
hmm
check it out.
Yeah, and so what we'll do after this, folks, is we'll make sure that you get a copy of the presentation. You'll have a copy of the webinar. I'll direct you to the landing page so you can learn more about the product. You can do the savings calculator. We do also have a blog. We've got lots of little assets that you can read up more on this product. And if you want to switch from account Elevon over to the new CardSync, we're happy to help. Just fill out that contact us form. It's not won't be an issue at all. So Ryan, I'm getting a couple of questions regarding the integration with the partners, Charm being one, Salon Target being another. That's part of the phase 3 rollout, I'm assuming,
Yeah,
or how's that working with our partners?
yeah, those partners that manage their own recurring transactions, that would probably be the best case for them is to work with us in phase 3 to roll it out as an API integration. I know some partners set up recurring schedules directly in PayConex. If
Okay.
that's the case with your software vendor or partner, then this should be something that we could enable for your account without much work on the partner's behalf. But if they are managing, which I know many of them do, manage their own recurring schedules, if they're doing that,
Okay.
then it would be a phase 3 item.
That is wonderful. So folks, I do have your questions where you have listed your specific partner, and we will find out for you how they are doing their recurring to see the availability for you. But net worst case scenario, it'll be this year that you're going to have it. Best case scenario is you can get it now, but we will find that out. And then I have another question about how will we be notified when phase 3 is done. So everybody who is part of the Bluefin family, if you will, receives our product newsletter, just as you receive, unless you opt out, of course, invitations to our product webinars. And so we've made a commitment to start issuing our newsletter actually every 4 to 6 weeks to be more timely in our communication to you folks and to make sure that you are aware when these new things are coming down the pike. So we will be telling everybody when this is available, when phase 2 is completed with Amex, and then when phase 3 is completed with the integrations. So you can definitely feel free to reach out to us before that, for sure. Everybody should have my email. I'm happy to answer any questions, but we are going to be putting that in our newsletter. So, and that's the end of our questions for today. So 30 minutes, give everybody some time back in their day. Reedy and Ryan, I want to say a big thank you for this information. Super educational, super helpful, very much appreciated. And thank you to everybody who took time out of their day today to join. You will be receiving a follow-up email with me, from me rather, with the assets and the link after this call. So thank you, Reedy. Thank you, Ryan. Have a great day, everybody.
Thank you, Danielle. Have a good
Thank
one.
you.
Oh, I missed it. Just got back in. I'm sorry.
Okay, sorry, Ryan. We didn't hear you, so we ended it. I'm just kidding.
No, that's fine. Yeah. I hope everyone has a nice day. Thanks everyone for joining.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.